This Jeep is ready to go on tour, but it needs to be able to go off-road first. We'll add some long arm suspension, 37-inch tires, new front and rear bumpers. Roads, where this Jeep is going, we don't need roads.
This seems a little bit bigger than originally planned, right? You want to
Took off quick, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Just hang on. So today we've got this 2014 Jeep JK Forwarder up on the lift, and here's the deal. It started as a pet project of mine, and it took off quick. I was on the phone with the guys at 4 Wheel Parts, ordering up some parts and pieces, and we got to talking. They got to thinking, and they said, you know what? Why don't we take this thing, work with you and Matt, make it the Truck U Signature Series Jeep. We'll drag it all around the country. We'll promote it. What do you say? And I'm like, yeah, here it is, baby. Look at all this stuff that showed up.
Here's what I'm thinking. You need to handle all the phone calls from now on, right? Because this one really worked out well. So congratulations on that. This thing's going to look awesome. Here's basically what we're talking about. A 4.5-inch long arm 4-link lift kit, wheels, tires, winch, aggressive bumpers, all over. It's going to look awesome. Now, we're not going ridiculously over the top crazy. Everything that's going on there is going to be useful. And these nice little conservative 37-inch tires are going to look great on this thing, too.
Yeah, a nice little conservative 37-inch tire, bro. This is going to look good, man.
Yeah, they're going to look awesome. Now, here's the deal. This is an involved process, right? This is a multi-day job, and we've got all of about 22 minutes to show you how to do it. So we need to get moving and catch you guys up to speed on where we're at.
Yep. So we started underneath by removing all the suspension components, including the axle. With all that stuff out of the way, we started to do a little cutting. Now, first things first was the lower control arm bracket. We broke out the plasma cutter, got the bulk of it out of the way so we can get in with some delicate cutting with our cutoff wheel. The rest of the bracket off, it was a matter of cleaning everything up with a grinder, hitting it with some paint, and it looks like it was never there.
It looks great. You know, here's the deal. This thing's going to be on tour, right? So you don't want to have it parked somewhere at a big show and some smart aleck kid walks up underneath and goes, hey, look at the Hackett job underneath of that. We don't want that. So the same principle kind of applied up here on this upper control arm, so except the fact that we're going to reuse some of it, okay? So we cut off maybe a little bit more than half of that, ground it down, smoothed it out, painted it. That looks like brand new as well. Now, shifting over to this side a little bit, we had this kind of loop in the exhaust, right? So that bolted up right about there. Well, that's going to be a clearance issue because we're going to have an arm coming off of this cross member going up to the axle. So we need to get that out of the way. There's a straight pipe that'll go right in there, and everything's going to be fine.
Yeah, it's looking good, man. While we're continuing to work on those front mounting brackets, we want to step back real quick and take a look at the rear. Now, when you're on the passenger side, it's pretty straightforward. You're going to utilize this bolt hold here for the fuel tank. Simply put the bolt in place, drill out the other ones, you're done, good to go. The problem is when you get to the driver's side, you don't have that reference point because there is no fuel tank here. So what we had to do is come up with a different reference point. So we figured, you know what? That cross member is in nice and square. That'll be a good way to go. So what we measured was from the back of the cross member to the front of the bracket. We got our measurement, which was 31.5. So now we'll bring it over to the driver's side of things. So what we did was measure up again, 31.5. I used a Sharpie, made a line, double checked it a second time because you always want to do that before you do any drilling. Our bracket is in place, it's all clamped down. Now it's time to start drilling. Now, one thing you want to do is either use a drill with a pilot on the end or a center punch to make sure the drill doesn't walk.
I mentioned earlier that we're going to reuse part of this upper control arm bracket, and here's where it all comes together because this new bracket is going in. So just to show you guys what's going down here, we'll get this into place, and then this is going to run up and bolt right into the frame. But you've got to catch the bolt inside the frame. So how do you do that? Well, they supply you with this cool little trick right here. So this is nice. See, it comes straight. I did some bending on it to where I can get in this hole, and I can kind of creep around right here, and then boom, I can get right in there to that nut. So that'll be nice and easy. And then tighten that all down. It'll look just like this. Once it's all in there nice and tight, I'll drill a hole right here and run that bolt up there, and that thing's in place. On this side over here, you can see what it looks like when it's all done. This baby's ready to go. Now we've got the bracketry and all the mounts and everything's in place. We're ready to start dropping in the arms, and this is going to look so good. Again, this is the Rubicon Express kit that we got from 4 Wheel Parts, and I think, we're finally starting to put the puzzle back together.
Yeah, before we can start putting the puzzle in, though, we need to go ahead and make some starting points in terms of settings. So it'll tell you, if you read the instructions, which you should, is to go ahead and put these at 36 1/4. Run that jam nut down there for me. Well, here we go.
You got that?
Well, what we're doing is just trying to get
everything.
everything as a starting point. We're not going to put any tools on it yet. We'll wait to do that once we got this thing done on the ground and everything set up, so this way we can tweak it.
Check
and
the uppers.
Uppers at 18 5/8.
That's it.
So we can start now at a point where we can lay stuff in. It gives us an opportunity to take a break and kind of get caught up a little bit. When we come back, we need to continue working on this suspension. That was the 13/16 you needed?
Yeah, that would help.
I got you.
That would help.
Greg, perfect timing, man.
What's happening, Bruno?
How you doing?
Hey,
Greg, this is Matt.
Matt Steele, nice to
Matt
meet you.
Gregg.
Nice to meet you.
He's
Very
the
cool.
CEO of 4 Wheel Parts, a good buddy of mine. I told you I know people in high places, bro.
That would explain the shipment of all those parts and pieces that we got, right, man? Thank you very much for that.
Hey, no problem. I see what you guys are working on here, and we want to make sure you had some of the best stuff to get the job done.
How we doing? All right.
Well, it's coming along.
We'll pick it up a little bit, I promise,
You know, one of the cool things I told Matt, you guys pretty much have everything under the sun, and by the time I hung up the phone with you, we had piles and piles of parts. You got it quick, man. Thank you. That's awesome.
No problem. You know what? We carry about 30,000 different unique parts in our warehouse, over $100 million in inventory, so usually we got stuff in stock ready to go.
And you got like a zillion stores now, too, right? Not just online.
Little under a zillion, but we've got 64 stores in really great places where we think the off-road enthusiasts are at. Those stores have professional technicians to install this product. If you don't want to tackle this one at home, great showrooms and parts ready and waiting.
Yeah,
Nice.
Bruno's been known to round up, like to the nearest zillion from time to time. Now, this is pretty involved, and it's a really popular one that you've got, right, for the guys that want to go a little bit extreme.
Exactly. So this long travel, 4.5-inch Rubicon Express kit is really popular for the guy who's going to go hit the trails, wants to have the travel, the clearance, the articulation for the bigger tires, and it makes a huge difference getting, over the more technical obstacles and, getting past your buddies on some of that stuff.
That's what happens, right? Bruno, super uber competitive guy, sees me do something cool, and then he's got to outdo me.
Absolutely. Our phones light up on Monday mornings, and guys are out there wheeling over the weekend, whether they're getting stuck in the mud pit and their buddy isn't, or climbing through some of the obstacles at Moab and they're getting stuck. So they want to show them up the next weekend. So we see a lot of that.
And that brings up a very good point. We've had a little bit of debate
Yeah.
going on in terms of what's going to happen here, because Matt, well, he can get a little crazy when he's out on the trails, and we've got stock axles to put in. So the big question is, if stuff goes bad, you got our back?
Like real bad.
Like real bad.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like axle assemblies are much like the suspension and tire and wheel option. There's mild to wild. We have replacement products for inside these diffs if you want to change your ring and pinions, re-gear your Jeep, go to a locker or a posi, which again, off-road's going to really give you more capability. Or if you're, like this guy here has a heavy right foot,
Sure.
and you want to do something you want to just have bigger, badder stuff in here, we replace some of the stock differentials with a bigger Dana 44 or a Dana 60 option through our company G2.
Nice.
Looks like Matt Steele just got a green light.
You
That's
got
what I'm
the green
talking
light,
about, right?
which is going to be scary for everyone.
All right, back to work. Listen, nobody likes to stand around and talk more than me, but nothing gets done. So I'm refocused. My energy is focused, and I'm ready, bro.
Nice. First things first, we have to get this old cross member out of the way because we've got a new one, a mild modular one in our new kit. Now, what's nice about this thing is the fact that it is modular. So if you've got all your suspension tied to this thing, you need to get to the trans. You don't have to take the suspension apart, but you'll notice that we put a jack stand in first because you want to support the back of the gearbox. If you don't, somebody's going to get some bloody toes, and that's not going to be me.
No, we don't want buddy toast.
I got nice feet, too. Got that side?
It's a little awkward, but moving on. Now we can start tying this back up and get these axles underneath here. Here, you want me to grab mine first?
Yeah, let me know when you're in.
Yeah, let me just bump it just a little bit. I like the creative method that we have of holding them up, you know?
You got to use what you got, man.
You do, absolutely. All right, I'm in, so that's good.
Okay.
Now this is going to be cool too because we're going to get a lot of benefits from the use of this long arm 4-link suspension. It's just going to come in a lot more handy, especially if this dude goes off the road.
You know, the whole name of the game here is articulation, and with this long arm suspension, you're going to get that. You know, we were talking to Greg, and he's telling you that, you know, the courses out there are getting more and more challenging. You need a suspension that's really going to be able to work. First of all, you need a big tire just to fill the hole. Then you need the suspension to get the vehicle through it. We're going to get up to 10.5 inches of travel with this suspension on it, which is huge, a huge improvement. But the thing is, you're not only going to feel it when you're out on the trails and you're going through courses, but everyday driving as well, man. It's really going to soak up all the road bumps, any kind of stuff out there, man. It's a nice upgrade. So we are really starting to make some progress on this little JK. We've got the upper control arms, they're in place, the new springs, the stainless steel brake lines. And Matt, you know the deal. Anytime you've got a lift going on, you've got that geometry issue with that steering.
The idea here is to keep that steering geometry as close to stock as possible, because if you start getting these jacked up angles, that can lead to bump steer, and that is no good. You don't want that at all. So what we have here in the Rubicon Express, we got a little high steer kit, right? So we got a couple different things going on. Now take a look at this. This is one of them. If you come over here to the knuckle, this is where the steering used to bolt in, down there on the bottom, and that went up, right? So basically what we do with our new drag link is we just kind of flip that, and you're flipping that up there, and we'll turn that because it's adjustable, and that's going to shoot over there. Now take a look at that. So the difference is a couple inches, right? That's going to help make up for the difference in the height, so that's good. Now the other issue is right here we had the track bar that used to bolt in right here, and that shot across down to here. Okay, now, so if you throw the Jeep up and the axle down to get that lift and you don't change that, now you got one of those jacked up angles I was talking about. You want to keep this flat, and that's what this bracket does. So this is going to bolt on right here, and basically all you're doing is moving that mount up a couple inches. That's going to keep that angle nice and low and where we want it to. That's the way to do it.
The other thing we're working on up front here are these quick disconnects for our sway bar. So this is how it works. When you're going down the road, you want everything nice and tight. You don't want to get that gangster lean going on, and that's what this is all for, that sway bar. But when you're at the trails, you want to have some fun, you simply pull the quick disconnect, slide this out of the way, and roll up your sway bar, and now you're going to get that full articulation. It's kind of like the best of both worlds.
You know, Bruno, I don't think we've said gangster lean in at least 3 or 4 shows, so that's pretty cool, right? You know, we were talking to Greg earlier, and he was mentioning the fact that they have tens of thousands of parts in the 4-wheel parts inventory, and we've got a bunch more of those. So we need to go to break right now, finish up the suspension, and when we come back, we'll be installing some of the other cool stuff that we've got, right?
Yeah.
This segment of Truck U is brought to you by Seatbelt Solutions, the safest seatbelt money can buy.
Those 37s are looking good, and you know what? I'm man enough to admit they look a lot bigger on the Jeep than they did when they were just sitting there, so I'm really happy with the way this is going.
Yeah, man, these things are no joke. I think the problem is you're used to stuff sitting about this high,
Sure.
but you know what? It's not really practical. This way, I mean, it's real deal for going around town. It's practical there, and it's fully capable to go off-road. You know, the 37s with the black wheels with that anvil paint, the whole thing is really starting to come together.
Fair enough, man. I see your point. Okay, so here's the deal. We have got things just about wrapped up with the front suspension. That is handled, right?
Right.
Now, the Jeep is looking angry. So what we, and I mean it in a good way, what we need to do is now make the front of it look a little bit angry too, to match it all up and do that theme, right?
Yeah, we've got the Warren winch. You know, this is an 8,000-pound winch. This thing's fully capable. If we go out in the trails, we get in trouble, we can get our way out. And the way it's going to mount is on top of this brand new front bumper we got from Warren. This is our Elite front bumper, and this thing is looking good. The only thing is we got to do a little bit of modification before we put this thing on.
Yeah, you can see these corner tabs right here. We already marked them. So we need to cut these corners out, and we've got this pump right here. So we're going to cut that and relocate this pump, and you'll see why here in just a second.
Show you
when
what
we
this
hang
thing's
this
going
up.
to look like.
What's nice is we kind of foreshadowing, right? Kind of see what it's going to look like.
This thing's a heavy piece, bro.
Ooh, look at that. Now there's the tabs exposed. That's why we have to cut those. And obviously you can tell if there's a winch sitting right there, this pump's going to be in the way. That's why we're moving it. But
It looks good, and you know what, man? Look at the way this thing's cut out, all the channeling, all the boxing. This thing is going to be strong as heck, man. So if we hit something, you know, it's going to take the beating.
dude, you're at the drive-through at the bank and you look in your rearview mirror and you see this. Man, this guy means business. Get out of the way.
All right, let's get it off. I'll start doing some cutting. Now, before you go ahead and start throwing sparks all over that brand new anvil paint, what you want to do is throw a fire blanket on or something like that to cover it up so stuff doesn't get damaged. What
What do you say we take a little break from the Jeep, right? Clear our
Down.
heads a little bit and come over here. You down with that?
I'm down.
All right, cool. Now, one of the best things you can do to keep your engine running great and keep the fuel system clean is to treat the fuel when you put it in the engine, right? It's a no-brainer. It makes sense. And this is an easy way to do it with StarTron Enzyme Fuel Treatment.
All you have to do is pour StarTron into your fuel tank, and what it's going to do is allow your engine to start quicker, run more smoothly, and give it more power. And the way it does that is by treating the ethanol problems that exist in fuel these days.
So you've got the ethanol in the gasoline that you buy, and the idea of that is to be purchased and used within a certain amount of time. Well, that's great if you're driving every day, but if you've got a four-wheeler or a motorcycle or a snowmobile or a boat or something like that, that maybe you only use every couple of months, that ethanol is going to gel up and create problems, and that is where the StarTron comes in.
Yeah, they've got a solution not only for gas, but diesel engines as well.
There are several tools around the shop that we really enjoy using. I mean, we have fun when we use them, right? And this is one of them. This is the Easy Puller from Las Vegas Tool.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun with it because it's easy to use and it works. Whether you've got a stuck bolt or a stud or a cotter pin or seal or even body work, all you have to do is clamp on and you slide away and it takes care of business.
It does, man. I'll tell you what, it's a great gift idea too. So this is one of those things that if you've got a birthday or a holiday or something like that coming up down the road a little ways, and you're trying to buy for the person who has just about everything, why don't you add one of these to the list?
Let's go inside the Duplicolor garage. Duplicolor. Yes, you can. In your garage.
I know what you're thinking. Somebody made a wrong turn and brought this little itty-bitty car onto the Truck U shop. Well, the story behind this is it belongs to a young lady we know. She's 20 years old, and this is the first brand new vehicle that she's ever bought. So she's very excited about it. I recommended maybe doing something with the wheels and maybe a stripe down there, you know, just toughen it up a little bit. And she's like, well, I like that idea right now, but what about a week from now if I don't like it? Well, that is where this comes in. It's the Duplicolor Custom Wrap. It's a removable coating that is specifically designed to spray on and peel off. The custom wrap comes in 6 different colors, and since we're doing black on the wheel, we're not worried about it getting on the tire. We want to lay this on in about 4 to 6 light coats, but we want to make sure to get plenty of product on there because when we go to remove this and peel it off, it's going to be a lot easier if the product is on there good and thick. We've got a couple coats on the wheels and they are drying as we speak. In the meantime, we can come up here to the hood and work on this cool stripe that we're going to do up here. Now, another one of the 6 colors is this graphite metallic, and that color is going to look real nice right there as a stripe on the hood. I thought I actually covered this up pretty good, but as you can see, over here on the hood and on the windshield and over on this side, I got a little bit of overspray. You know, I can just come up here with like a dry little microfiber cloth and this just rubs right out. So I'm gonna let this finish up drying, and in the meantime, let's go look at this wheel down here because this looks fantastic. Now keep in mind, they will say that at the end of 6 months, what you wanna do is either recoat this or peel it all off and remove it. And it's really easy to do with the Easy Peel technology. For more information about custom wrap or any other Duplicolor products, be sure to check out their website.
This segment of Truck U is brought to you by Seatbelt Solutions, the safest seatbelt money can buy.
Welcome back to Truck U. Bruno, I'm going to try to nail this time, right? Today we have been working on this 2014 4-wheel parts Truck U limited edition touring what?
Close, Signature Series.
Oh, my bad. All right.
You know, I'm going to cut you a little slack because we had a lot going on here today. You know, it all started with that 4.5-inch lift kit we got from Rubicon Express,
Right.
man. That thing's been a bit cumbersome, but I think the payoff will be worth it. You know, up front we got that new winch and a new bumper from Warren. That looks good. We got 37-inch wheels and tires. Did some work to the interior. Now it's all about this top, man.
Here, let's flip this up real quick, all right? You know I own one of these Jeeps, right? It's
I
a
do.
couple years older, and the color's not as cool, but I put one of these Trek tops on there, and in my opinion, you know, wheels and tires always make a radical difference. There's few things you can do that rival that, but this does. This top, it replaces the factory one that goes all the way back and does that hard 90-degree drop, and it really follows the contour of the roll bar. And I can't really describe it. To me, I think it's just futuristic. It's just awesome looking.
You know, I'm with you. I really like the look, and what I like more about it is the fact that this thing only took a little bit of time to put on. You know, if you follow the instructions, it's pretty simple. They rate it, what, a 2 out of 5?
Yeah, which I think is a little high, probably.
Yeah, and it's something that's, so it's easy to do, and it changes the look, and you know what? I think it's a better look than what comes from the factory.
All we got to do is put those zip-up windows in there, and this is done.
Yeah.
And done. What is this, dude?
This is called a reality check. I thought I'd surprise you.
You did?
Yeah, you know, I think we kind of mismanaged our time a little bit. We got another project due to show up any minute, and we've got a lot of work left to do on this Jeep.
True.
But I've got a solution. I want to run this past you.
Let me hear it.
If you're paying attention, Greg had said that he's got a full staff of guys that do this stuff all day long, and they're good at it, and they're willing to help whenever we need help.
You know, he did mention full installation at all the 4 Wheel Parts shops, and he brought it up, right?
And he said that there's one somewhere nearby.
Right around the corner, I think. You know, this is a relationship, and we really need to cleave into one,
Are
right?
you thinking what I'm thinking?
I'm thinking so.
I'm thinking I know a guy who owns a towing company and can be here in 30 minutes and get this thing out of here.
I'm thinking I am totally DTLTF.
You're the DT Voodoo, huh? What?
Down to let them finish, man.
I am down with that. You know what? I'm going to make the call right now.
Hey, oh, wait, make sure we get it back, because we got to break those axles, right? We were green lighted, so.
Oh, yeah, we get a hall pass to wreck some stuff. We're taking it all day long.
Don't screw it up.
It's all part of the deal, right?
Dude, you're on it. You're on it.
Now that we got this thing back from 4 Wheel Parts, we can have some fun with it. We found a little stairs section that we can climb up and test out the new suspension.
We mentioned earlier that 4 Wheel Parts is going to take this Jeep on tour, and they plan on putting in new axles. So let's see how much pain we can put these stock Jeep axles through. In hindsight, I guess we could have used a little more speed on that first approach, but that's okay. There's always a take two. And when in doubt, pedal through.
One hill down, now it's time for another. But where did this mud puddle come from? No worries, our 4 Wheel Parts Truck View Signature Series JK is no problem in the mud. One worry we did have was for this camera's life. Oh, the Jeep really ran over everything in its path.
Well, I hate to say it, but we didn't break anything out here today, and the Jeep really passed the test, which is good. It looks just as good sitting next to the obstacles as it does going over them. And that's all the time we have today for Truck U. We'll see you guys next time.